Hey, what's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy, and I'm really excited to be doing this video for you guys. This is the EDH Tag Part 4. I actually did not create this one. I created Parts 2 and 3. The first one was made by Maddie the Gatherer, the second and third were created by me, and the third was actually a bunch of really awesome people. Marin, MTG, I believe. I'll list her channel down below. She's super cool. And I watched her video and I was like, oh my gosh, she's like super adorable. So if you're watching, you're very cute. So anyways, they, a bunch of people created the fourth part, and I will list all of the ones that I've done, and this, her EDH part 4, it's done in the down bar below, but I'm really excited. Also, I'm a little sick, super sorry about that. And the second thing I wanted to say is if you watch my most recent video, I did put a disclaimer in there, but, oh no, never mind. I don't have to make that point. I was gonna say I lost my audio, but I didn't lose my audio. There's some issue with my computer, but it's all fixed. Okay, the first question is, what is your favorite tribal deck? Okay, this is like kind of hard because I feel like I really love tribal decks, and it's definitely like that's like what I love to do in EDH so much, and it was really hard to pick just one, so I said two. I would just say like Angels in general, just because like that deck is such like an OG like type of deck. I'm a huge fan. But on the same account, I really love my 5-color ladies deck, and I just love that. And I love that deck too because it's so unique, and I get a lot of people who are like really intrigued about the deck, and it's just really fun. So I really love crushing people with that deck, and it's really fun for people who haven't seen it before. The second question is, what is one card you would ban, and what is one card you would unban? This is a really interesting question, and I think it's cool to hear other people's perspectives. Now, I have a lot of cards that I hate, and we're just gonna, like, establish that, and I've 100% done videos on cards I hate before. So that list is pretty long. But when I was really thinking about it, one card I just think is totally unfun is Humility. And I think my main issue with this card is the fact that, like, you can't even use creatures to destroy this card because they literally lose all abilities. Like, you can't Rec Sage it, and that infuriates me, and I love Reclamation Sage, and this card just makes me really mad. So I would say Humility is super unfun. I haven't really seen a whole lot of people in my playgroup play with it, but I've definitely had it played against me before. Not here, but back on my old game store when I was playing Omnath, and I was real salty, as I'm sure you can imagine. And now, as for a card that I would unban, I looked through the entire EDH ban list. Guys, I really couldn't think of anything. I think they're all justifiably... I think the ban list is great in EDH. My only thing is I think there should be more cards on there, in my personal opinion, and I think that's a whole separate issue that I could probably film a video on. But I mean, I've definitely hinted at cards that I think are unfun in general, and I think, honestly, I'm in a much better place, I would say, now with my EDH group because everyone's super great. And yes, people do things that I think other people would deem unfun, but I have a really good group of people that I play with that I think we do a lot of really fair things, so I'm okay with it. Okay, so number 3 says, who are your favorite Commander content creators? And I just want to read you my response because I thought it was really funny. Paul was here with me when I was writing these answers down because I wrote them like down in my notebook. And I just hit myself in the face. LOL, that's great. Okay, so I said, LOL, who has time for that? LOL, sickly, cause bae. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, the next question is, what's a card you play often that no one else really plays? I think I play with a lot of really weird cards, and one card that I really have not seen, like, anyone on the surface of the earth know about is Fade into Antiquity, and this card is really good, and I get a lot of people who are like, why don't you just run, like, a Destroy card? And don't get me wrong. If you know me, you know that I run a ton of other removal cards, but sometimes you just gotta exile something, and this card is really good at doing it. Now, one thing I will say about this card, though, is if you're playing green in conjunction with another color, there's definitely other cards you can run, but if you're playing, like, a mono-green deck, this card is just really good. It's just, I think, one of, like, the best green removal cards, and green doesn't really do a good job of, like, removing creatures, but, like, it does a really good job of artifacts and enchantments. Sometimes you just gotta exile something. This card's awesome. Okay, the next question is, what is your favorite archetype? So, I don't know, maybe I'm just, like, having a brain the other day I said that my brain was ice cream, and someone was like, that's probably the best description of anything, and I was like, yeah, my brain is a little bit ice cream on this question, because I feel like this is kind of similar to, like, the tribal question. I mean, I guess it's definitely different, but, like, I don't really know how to answer that. Like, my answer is kind of the same for the first one, is I really love my ladies deck, and, I don't know, I mean, I really like Graveyard Recursion just because, like, my Tassiger deck does that, and I really like that, but, is controlling the board an answer? Because I do that on all my decks, and that's, like, the best thing. Is that an archetype? I don't know, but it should be. Okay, the next question is, what is your favorite deck you own? I actually left this question literally blank because I love all of my decks, and they all do different things, and they all perform well, and I honestly have genuinely noticed something about myself recently with EDH, is I really have varied up my decks, and I really do try to give them all an equal amount of love and attention. There are decks that I don't bring out as frequently, like my Angels deck, because it is really mean, and Omnath, because that deck is really rude too, but, like, to be honest, I've even been bringing them out more and more. Like, it's just, you know, like, those are definitely my best decks, I would say, but, yeah, I think they're all my favorites. Like, I love them all. Like, there's not one that I prefer over the other. It honestly really just depends on my mood. Like, there's some days where I'm like, I'm really in the mood to cast this specific set of cards, and that's kind of what I go with, so. Sweet. Number 7 is, what is your favorite monocolored commander of each color and colorless? And I honestly had a really hard time with this question because I noticed that a lot of my commanders actually have multiple colors, so it's kind of hard for me to think about, like, monocolored. But someone said to me once, and I thought this was really cool, is they were like, I kind of want a deck of, like, every color combination, and that would be, like, my ideal set of EDH decks, and I thought that was, like, a really cool way of putting it, that I think in reality I would probably have a commander of all of these. And I honestly didn't really think about this question as much as I probably could have. Like, I probably could have come up with some other answers, but right off the bat, it was just kind of difficult for me to, like, think about this because I honestly don't have these as commanders, except for one. And some of them I have had in the past, so we'll talk about it. The first mono white is Avacyn. I mean, I've mentioned her a ton in this video, and I have her. I think she's just one of the best monocolored commanders, and I just really love her because I really like having all my permanents indestructible. Now, in terms of red, I honestly feel like red is for me, is the most underrepresented color, where I don't run a lot of red in my decks, and that's probably something I should change. Like, I definitely should run, even if it's, like, a dual deck where red is, I just feel like it's not a good EDH color, and, like, I feel like there's some people who are really mad at me right now, and I'm sorry, but it's like, on my list of, like, all the 5 colors, red is just at the bottom. It's never a color I've really honestly had a lot of close contact with, except for casting, like, lightning bolts in Modern, but other than that, it's been not a color that I've cast a whole lot. But I do really enjoy Norn the Wary. Someone I knew had a Norn the Wary deck, and it was really funny, and it was just everyone's life total diminishes, even the person who's playing it, and it just looked like a lot of fun. So Norn the Wary is definitely my red color of choice. Now for blue, I honestly couldn't really ever see myself building a mono blue deck again. I don't know. I mean, that's not to say that it'll never happen, but I did once upon a time have a Talrand EDH deck. I don't know if I ever did a deck tag about that, actually, now that I think this was, like, before I started filming videos, or I just never filmed it. I did take the deck apart because it was super mean 1v1, and I feel like playing a straight mono blue counter control deck against multiple people is really hard. Also, I feel like it's just not fun, so I was like, I kind of want to take this apart. And I also feel like for my playgroup now, it would be really not fun, so I'm probably never going to do something like that again. That's not to say that I'll never run counter spells, but I definitely won't build a deck where every spell is drawing cards or counter spells, but needless to say, Talon was pretty fun when I had him. Super rude 1v1 though. Okay, now for green, I'm just a classic, like, Azuri fan. I feel like Azuri is, like, really good, and I feel like I do really enjoy elves, but I feel like I probably would never build them, but I do really enjoy Azuri, and I think he's a really solid commander. Now for black, I could 100% see myself building a mono black Erebos deck, because Erebos is just fire. Like, I love him. I love, like, how the gods are indestructible, which I think is really amazing, and the fact that you can just, like, draw cards with him is, like, everything I want in a Magic card. I'm like, yeah, Erebos, and I don't run him in any of my decks, but he's a card, like, I admire from afar, so Erebos, he's my man. Now, for colorless, I'm kind of torn on this question, to be honest, because I really love Paul's Karn deck, but at the same time, honestly, if I were to build a colorless deck, which, who knows, it may happen one day, it'd probably be, like, Kozilek, because, guys, like, he draws cards. I mean, even if you kill him, you just recast him, and you get to draw more cards. Like, that sounds super great to me, and as you guys know, that's my favorite thing to do in EDH. In Magic in general. Drawing cards is my favorite thing to do, so, yeah, that. Okay, God, that was, like, such a long question, but, the next question is, what's your favorite monocolored card of each color and colorless? This was really hard because there's a lot of, like, monocolored cards specifically that I really enjoy, and again, I probably could have given more thought into this question, but these were just kind of cards that came up off the top of my head. For blue, I mean, like, Psych Rift, I mean, like, I just really love casting this card, and there's nothing quite like casting this card. It's just really fun. And now for red, again, I had a really hard time coming up with this, but I really love Blasphemous Act. That's probably one of my favorite mono red cards because it's really funny for, like, 1 mana to cast it, and it's just really good in, like, multiple people games of EDH. Like, you have multiple people in your group. Now, green was really hard because I love green. It's my favorite EDH color, but Eternal Witness because, like, this is just, like, the best Magic card ever. Like, I live off casting Eternal Witness. Like, I thrive off casting that card. Yeah, card's great. Now for white, this is really hard because, again, I love white too, but Armageddon, and that's probably, like, my most recent answer because I put it in Angels because I was like, I kind of feel like I have to, and it's really fun. I totally blew people out a couple weeks ago. I posted about this where I had a board wipe and I blew up everyone's board and then I Armageddoned. So I blew up everyone. Literally, there was nothing on everyone's board but mine. It was a great feeling. So yeah, Armageddon, sweet. And then for black, I really love Sheldred. People know me for loving this card. Paul hates this card and it's really funny. I love Sheldred though. She's like such a boss lady. She just does everything that you want her to. Also, she's got a huge body. She's, like, super big, and if they have a swamp, you have Swamp Walk, and life is great, so, yeah. Now, for colorless, this was pretty easy for me, Perilous Vaults. I run in, like, all my decks, and it's a great card. It's, like, one of my favorite board wipes, and I have a lot of favorite board wipes, so I love this card. Okay, another, like, sub-question that I would add here, and maybe this will be in the EDH Tag Part 5, who knows, maybe, who knows, but, it would be, like, what is your favorite, like, dual card, like, with 2 colors in each, because I have some good answers for that. That would be a lot to answer on this, because those 2 questions took up a lot of time. Anyways, the next question is, what are 3 people you would want to play a game of Commander with someday? I really love this question, because this is, like, honestly, I think one of my favorite questions of all time is, like, the dinner party question, like, what 3 people would you invite to your dinner party, alive or dead? And I think that's, like, one of the best questions ever, to ask someone to really get to know them, and this question reminds me of that. Okay, so the first would be, like, Tolarian Community College, because the professor is just awesome, and I feel like I would just really enjoy talking to him about EDH, and I feel like I'd really enjoy talking to him about Pauper, too, which is, I don't really know a lot about Pauper, but he really likes it, and I'd really be intrigued to have a game of EDH with him. And then, Sickly, because they. And then also, I would invite Paul, because I feel like it would make sense that we could have, like, a 4-player game, all of us, and that would make me, like, really happy. And he's also my bae, and I would love to have him with, you know, meet all of us in the same room, and I think that'd be really cool. Okay, and Paul just awed in there. That was cute. Okay, yeah, that was, like, the sappiest I'll ever be, I promise. Okay, the next question and the last question is, if you could create your own commander, what would it be? Okay, I have been waiting for this question my entire life, actually. My entire life has, like, never happened up until this moment. Y'all ever seen, what movie was it, with Anne Hathaway with, like, the wedding movie where she's just like, yeah, you're dead up until this moment. Did you know that? Well, you're dead. Yeah, well, that's been me. Okay, because no one's ever asked me this question before. Okay, we need a 5-color angel. We just need it. It needs to be legendary. If y'all know, I can't think of the name of it, but there's a 5-color angel, but it's not legendary. Yeah, okay, well, we need a 5-color legendary angel now. I don't really know what the deck would look like. I don't really know how it would be different from my other deck right now, other than it would just be, like, fire. I don't know the logistics. I don't care. It just needs to happen, okay? It needs to happen. Just saying. Also, if we had even more 5-color, like, ladies, if we had just more ladies in general, thanks. I'd appreciate that because I feel like my ladies deck is at a point where I don't know what to take out anymore, but I actually don't care because I have considered legitimately making a part 2 of that deck because there's so many amazing cards I could run. And that's been something I've considered. So, you know, Wizards of the Coasts, get on it. Guys, that is it. This was so much fun to film. Oh man, I really enjoyed this. So there will be like a ton of things listed in the down bar below. So definitely check that out. And I think that's everything I have to say. I will talk to you guys in my next video.